All right, welcome to day 20, 21, day 20, I think. I lost track, man. I'm always losing track in these videos. But all right, so in today's video, we're going to be talking about breaker blocks. Okay, so as you guys can see, this whole week has just been a bunch of concepts, fair value gaps, um, order blocks, CISD, now breaker blocks. Okay, so a breaker block is basically going to be something like this, right? So a bullish breaker block is going to be that last up close candle of the swing high that sends price lower to sweep liquidity, right? So say you have an important key level, right? Like right here. Most of the time, this is where your high probability breaker blocks are going to form. Um, you have a low, you have a lower high, and you have a lower low. So at this lower high, right? The up close candle, the last one, that sends price to sweep, the short term low right here and whatever key level, like external buy side or whatever, or external sell side or buy side. This is going to be your breaker block, right? The last up close candle. We'll look at examples here in a little bit, but the idea is when price breaks above this high that sent price lower to sweep liquidity, it will retrace into that breaker block most of the time or tap into it, right? And this is where your CISD comes from. Most of the time, you will get a change in the state of delivery, which will confirm your breaker block, okay? And then most of the time, it'll tap it and then continue higher, right? And for the bearish example, same thing, right? The swing low, but this time it's going to be the last down close candle that sends price to go and sweep the high that makes that short term low right here, right? So the high right here, this short term high makes a short term low, sends price, right? This swing low sends price to go sweep this high, and then whatever external buy side that we have, and then we go lower. This is going to be your breaker block, and then price retraces back up to it, taps the last down close candle that sends price up here, and then we usually go lower. So I don't want to overcomplicate this here. I actually want to make it super simple. I know some of you guys are probably like, what the hell? Like, what's he talking about, right? So let's go into the chart here so I could show you guys what breaker blocks are. Very, very simple concept. Oops, I flipped this chart. All right, so a breaker block is basically going to be, again, the bullish breaker block is going to be the last up close candle that sends price lower from the swing high. What do we have right here? This is a swing high right here, right? You could use this one or this one. I personally use the very last one. And as you guys can see, this is your breaker block. We break above it. So we have a CISD and a breaker block combo. We come into it, we tap the CISD and this breaker block. This is a bullish breaker block, and then we push up. Okay, this is the 1 hour time frame. You guys could use it on whatever time frame. It works a lot. Again, this is the example that I showed in the last video too, right? This one is your last up close candle that sweeps all this liquidity here, right? Sweeps all these lows right here, right? This is the last up close candle that sends price lower, okay? And this is a bullish breaker block, all right? So as you guys can see, you have your CISD and then you have a breaker block, okay? We push up, we close above the swing high, right? Last up close candle at the swing high. We send price lower to, take out all this internal sell side, and then we push up, we come back, and then we tap into the breaker block and CISD combo right here. And then guess what? We push up. Same thing for the bearish side, right? What is this? Swing low, last down close candle before it sweeps the high. So this will be your breaker block, okay? Boom. As you guys can see here, it taps the order block here, and it taps this breaker block. Why am I not using this one? Why am I not using this candle right here? Because it's not a swing low, okay? This is the swing low that's made this swing high. So this is the one I would use, okay? And then you can mark that out. Boom, okay? This is your order block. CISD would be down here because it's the last, it's a series. Well, not really, okay? Changing the state of delivery here would be kind of iffy. I would just use the breaker block because there is no series of up close candles. This would just be your order block right here. I'm sorry if that's a little confusing. Just ignore that part. We're studying breaker blocks, okay? So breaker block, last down close candle that makes the high. You drag it out. As you guys can see here, price is respecting it, and then we go lower, okay? Another breaker block example would be, let's see if we could find another one around here. This is honestly a good one right here. Last up close candle, right? Goes lower, sweeps, and then price what? comes back into it, taps the top of it, okay, and then pushes up, right? That's the bullish one. Okay, let's find a quick little bearish one here. This one got invalidated because we went above the high. So this would be one, or actually we didn't take that high. Remember, guys, on a breaker block, it needs to make a higher high, okay? So when you have a situation like this where it makes a low, but it doesn't make a higher high and it breaks through, that is not your breaker block. A breaker block must have a higher high. And if you're looking at the bullish pattern, right? If you're looking at the bullish pattern, you have to have a lower low. Does that make sense? This is the bullish, this is the bearish pattern, right? You have to have that lower low. It cannot be a lower high and then it breaks through. Like this example here, this is not a valid breaker block. It needs that sweep liquidity in order for it to be a valid breaker block. Okay, I forgot to mention that. And here's another one, right? Last up close candle before we sweep this low here. We don't necessarily need to sweep external liquidity. We could just sweep the internal liquidity, like this low right here that makes the high. This is the last up close candle, right? This is your bullish breaker. Drag it out, we tap into it, then we go higher. Okay, this is your bullish breaker. We sweep this low, boom, push up and close the body above it. This is your CISD as well. This is your breaker. Tap into both of them, push up. Okay, very, very simple stuff. So like for example here, this could be a valid breaker block here, right? It could be if price after sweeping this high were to make a lower low, but it did not. Okay, I wouldn't even like I wouldn't even like drag it over because it's like too much it's just way to the left, and it's just, you know, this is not the last down close candle that makes the new swing high where price went down. I would not use this candle. I would not drag it over. I would only use this candle in this situation if after sweeping this high here, we would have dropped. Okay, if we would have dropped and we would have closed below the swing low, this would have been a valid breaker block. But since, you know, we came up and we almost swept the high, this is not a valid breaker block, but it could have been if we would have swept the high. Okay, do you guys understand? If we would have swept the high, this would have been a valid breaker block because a breaker block needs a low, higher high, then breakthrough. Vice versa for the bullish one, needs a low, high, lower low, breakthrough. Okay, so I showed you guys a couple examples of a breaker block. Don't overcomplicate it. It's extremely simple. It's just the last up close candle, right? Or the last down close candle before we, you know, take out the high or take out the low. Okay. Let me find you a couple more examples here. Let's see. So we don't take out the high there. Okay. So for example, let's see, you could definitely think this is a breaker. So what makes breakers invalid, right? Like you could definitely think this is a breaker because this is the last up close candle before sweeping these lows, right? We come back up, we close above it, and then boom. This is what makes a breaker block invalid, right? Like this could have worked and it was holding it, but if we close, remember, bodies do the damage, wicks tell the story, right? We're wicking, we are allowed to wick, but if we close bodies below it, then it's no longer valid. Okay, that's what makes a breaker block invalid. All right. And now if we look for a bearish one, that was a bullish example. I'm trying to find a little bearish one here. You could use this one, but this is really like super tight. I don't really like the structure there. I want to clear low, higher high, and then break through. So that's another thing, like making sure that you have enough structure to validate your order block. Okay. Trying to find a good one. Let me go more back. Let's see. Okay, so right here, this is actually a pretty good one. So last down close candle, right here, last down close candle. Sweep the high. We sweep external in this case. We sweep all this internal as well. We break the low. You know, it takes a couple days. Actually, it takes till next week, middle of the week of next week, to tap into it. Taps the bottom of it, and then we go lower. Okay. So that is another bearish breaker block example. So hopefully you guys learned something today with this breaker block examples and how to identify them, what makes them invalid, etc. I want you guys to come in here now and start looking for breaker blocks, start looking for CISDs. And what you guys are going to notice is that CISDs and breaker blocks are usually kind of paired together. So when you have both of those, in confluence with the speed and displacement above those highs, you guys are going to have high probability breakers and order blocks and a change in state and delivery, right? Don't overcomplicate this, guys. Watch this week over if you need to. These are just concepts that I feel like you guys need to know, because we're going to get into some juicy stuff in a couple weeks. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to be uploading homework tomorrow. So catch you guys in the homework video. Peace out.